Hey guys, how you doing? It's Chad Kupinoff once again, and today we're going to talk about the most important lesson I ever learned as a cook. So I was just taking a little walk, and I was thinking about how there really is no right way to do anything, or wrong way. There are just different ways. It's a simple idea. It was a simple lesson, but it took me a long time to really grasp it, and there was a few key moments, whoa, jumping over a river, a few key moments where that really started to internalize in myself. There was a time when I was a young cook and I was working at Alenia, and we were making staff meal. I was working with Greg Backstrom, who now owns Olmsted in Brooklyn, which is amazing, so check that out. And we were cooking staff meal, and I was asking for advice, and we were doing some kind of stew with spices, and I wasn't very comfortable with spices and didn't know which ones I should put in. Should I put in mace? Should I put in nutmeg? I didn't know. And he said something like, well, if you put in a lot of mace, it's going to taste like mace, and mace is good. Or if you put in a lot of nutmeg, it's going to taste like nutmeg, and nutmeg's good. Or if you put in a lot of coriander, it's going to taste like coriander, and coriander's good. And that little statement completely opened up the world to me. It made it so much more free to cook, so much more less restrictive and less about rules, and pretty much everything is good. So if you put a lot of it in there, it's going to be good. Of course, there's things that are extremely bitter, and if you put a lot of bitter things in there, well, then you just have to balance it out with sweetness, or fat, or there's ways to work with that. But that was kind of the first time that things really opened up. And then I can recall moving to Vietnam for the first time, and as a young cook, being trained how to cook eggs in proper French fashion. You never want to see color on an omelet or when you're frying an egg. And then I go to Vietnam, and what they do is throw a lot of oil in a hot ass pan, drop the egg in, and basically brown it, like almost deep fry it. And at first I thought, well, that's not the right way to do it. That's not how I was taught. But then you go and eat it, and it's pretty damn good. It's crispy, it's chewy. Whoa, this is a dangerous part here. Go. Okay, it's really crispy, it's really chewy, it's quite good. Sometimes I like my eggs like that now. It's not wrong or right, it's just a different style. And then the French fry is not wrong or right, it's just a different style, it's more delicate. It depends if you want a little more delicate nature, if you want a little bit more chew. If I'm eating stir-fry noodles, I can't imagine having an egg that doesn't have any sort of texture or pull to it that I would get with like an Asian style fried egg. And then there's other times where, as a fine dining cook brought up, we're always taught that like Alain Ducasse's potato recipe or our Pommes puree recipe is the right way to make mashed potatoes. It is the correct way. It should be pretty much half potato, half butter. And that is delicious. Don't get me wrong, it's amazing. But then again, as I got older and my ego got a little bit smaller, there's times where all I want is like grandma style with potatoes, where the potatoes are peeled, diced, boiled in water so they absorb a lot of water, and then just are whipped with basically no butter put in whatsoever. That can be quite good for certain dishes. That can be what the dish needs, not this super loose, heavy fat potato. So there really is no right way or wrong way. There's just different ways. And depending on the application, depending on the meal, you can choose that method or that technique. Of course, if you're trying to recreate someone else's recipe, if your chef gives you a pecan pie recipe or whatever, you're supposed to follow that to the T because you're trying to get consistency. But for you being a cook, part of the reason why I love cooking so much is the freedom of it. I love the creating in the moment, and realizing that I have freedom with what I put inside made it a lot more fun with me. And realizing that there is no right way, there are just different options, really improved my creativity, my enjoyment of the process, and I don't know, I guess my overall love of it. One of the things I love the most is creating in the moment. So I hope you guys enjoyed this lesson, or opinion, not lesson, whatever. Enjoyed the opinion. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you give it a thumbs up. Make sure you subscribe to the channel, and I will see you later.